Well, good morning. Today is Monday, December 14th. And look at, you want to say hi, Jim?
Hi, Jim.
Jim didn't want to walk with me, though.
No.
He was a wuss. And Denise didn't want to walk with me either, but I did see her while I was walking. But she didn't get out of the car, and we stayed socially distant while we talked to each other. It's cold. It's very cold. It's 19 degrees. And no sun. There's no sun, and it's kind of windy, it's kind of breezy, so I don't know how much you're actually hearing of this. I might be redoing this part, who knows. But we do have birthdays. Today is Regina Overton's birthday, so Regina gets a song. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday dear Regina, happy birthday to you, cha-cha-cha. Happy birthday, Regina. It's also Susan Horton's birthday. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday dear Susan, happy birthday to you, cha-cha-cha. Well, I hope you both have a great day. Last night Jim and I went around to look at the lights, and I have to tell you that our subdivision had more lights than some of the other subdivisions that we looked at. And then there's this one really it's a gated community, but they usually keep the gates open because they have like professional people come in and decorate all their McMansions. They're like little mansions, but they're big houses. And they're beautiful. They're just beautiful. And we go every year to look at them. But this year the gates were locked. Mere peasant like me couldn't get in to see them. And then there was a car going in and he had the passcode to get in. And we were half thinking we were going to just follow him in like we were living in the area too. But then we thought, how are we going to get out? Because we don't have the passcode to get out. We'd have to sit there and wait and see if somebody was leaving. So we just looked at him from afar and just dreamed. But we had fun. I didn't bring any hot chocolate or popcorn though, but it was a good night. And then we came home and we watched Blue Bloods because we taped that on Friday, and then we also watched Your Honor on Showtime with Bryan Cranston. That's a good series. I like Bryan Cranston. I loved him in Breaking Bad. He was really good at Breaking Bad. And I liked him in Malcolm in the Middle. He was good on that one too. But and I finished my book last night, The Whiskey River by Nora Roberts. Whiskey Beach. And I figured out the killer. I knew who the killer was. I think I read too many of these books because I've already figured out, like halfway in, who I thought the killer was, and then I thought, no, it can't be that one, and then, yeah, it could be that one, and I thought, no, it can't be that one. But then I was right. It was the one I originally thought. So, oh, spoiler alert, there's a killer. Of course, you knew. Where are you guys going? Where are you going? I told you it's breezy out here. The wind caught you. The wind caught you, and you fell. I don't know if it seems like I talked more than 3 minutes, but maybe not. Well, I'm glad I have a screen protector because it's all. I'm really half thinking of getting a new phone anyhow. This is an 11, I think. I think this is an 11. I think. No, it's a 10. So it's due. You know what? Let's go in the garage because I got a feeling you're gonna fall again because it is that windy. So get a better angle. There we go. Have Jim's truck as the backdrop, which will lead us to another story. But wait for it. Just wait. Wait 1 minute. So it's Monday, new start, new week. I know Sunday's really the start of the new week, but Joan over at Joan's Pointed Plate and I had a little discussion on that. And I could see her point, she could see my point. What I like is we're both right. So, and I did a Christmas tag yesterday. Mary Fran at No Excuses tagged me, so if you didn't see it yet, go check that out. It was fun. It was fun doing that. And it did remind me of a story. It's kind of like it said your happiest Christmas memory. It actually, I don't know if it was on one of the other videos, was my favorite Christmas present. It was a couple things ago. And it was, and I said something like my Tiny Tears doll and my pea coat, which were really good gifts. They really were. But my favorite memory with my dad was a sad memory, but it was a happy memory at the same time. My dad was dying from cirrhosis of the liver, and I remember the Thanksgiving, we were just sat down to eat, and we got the call from the hospital that he had taken a turn for the worse, and we just got up and left everything. We didn't even have not one bite of food, and went to the hospital, and thankfully he went through that, and he was fine, but he didn't pass away that day. And we got back, and threw all the food away because we had been hours. It was like salmonella sitting on the table. So on Christmas Eve, we got the call that this was really it. My dad we had to give him last rites. And my mother never liked this doctor that my dad liked, and my dad liked him for some reason. And the priest came, and we were giving him last rites, and my dad started to cry. And my mother got so emotional, and we all got emotional because we saw my dad crying. And then the doctor came in and said, he says, he's not really crying. That's just his tear ducts. When you're close to death, all your body parts change, and that's just tears falling down. He's not aware of what's going on. He doesn't know what's going on. My mother never heard her swear. My mother never swore. She turned to that doctor and she said, get your effing ass out of this room and don't ever effing come back. And we all looked in shocked that my mother had said such things. And she told the nurse, she says, I want it on the chart. I don't care who you get. I don't want that man near my husband. He knows what's going on. He does know what's going on. And this is it. Just keep him out of here. I want another doctor of record. And so we got another doctor. My father ended up passing away on the 30th. But for the last 6 days of his life, he had another doctor who we really liked. It was a hospital staff doctor, but he was really nice. But we were all very emotional. We were all crying, and it was just, it was a really hard day because, you won't convince me my dad didn't know that he was getting last rites. And so he was just kind of like in and out, and he had this nurse, I forget her name. You'd think I'd remember her name because she was like an angel. All nurses, I think, are angels on earth. I'm telling you. But I can't remember what her name was. But she took such good care of my dad. And we were all sitting there, and we were all crying, and my dad was crying, and the priest, had said the final prayers and left, and we were all just sitting there. And then the nurse came in with all these little presents wrapped for each of us. And my father, after Thanksgiving, when he had that scare, my father had a coin collection, and he treasured these coins. Every night he'd get them out and look at them and take them out. Remember the little books that you put them in? He'd take them out, look at them, and put them back in. And he just loved this coin collection. And he had taken out these really old coins, silver dollars, and had given them to this nurse. Barb, that was her name, Barb. She had given them to Barb, and had asked her to make them into keychains for us and to wrap them up, and if he wasn't alive, to give them to us. And so if I can find, I know where it is, but I'm pretty sure, I don't know if I have it in the safe deposit box, but I think I have it in my jewelry box. If I have it, I'm going to show you it right here. Okay, here's the keychain my dad had made for me. It definitely needs to be cleaned, but I'm afraid to clean it. But look at it, it's over 100 years old. 1907. I don't ever use it as a keychain because I'm so afraid I'm going to lose it. I'm just so afraid I'm going to lose it, so I don't use it as a keychain. But anyway, so she comes in with all these little gifts that are wrapped from us, and my mother didn't even know. And he had made one for my mother too. Had one made for my mother, and we opened it up, and it was the last gift my father ever gave me. And I treasure it. I just so treasure it. It's just so special. And every Christmas, it's in my room. It is, because every Christmas Eve, I can't think I go to the bank every year. I just hold it. I just hold the keychain. Think of my dad. It's like it's a sad memory because that's the day we just knew that my dad really was going to die. But it was a happy memory because it was the last gift my dad ever gave me. So, and I made it through without crying. I usually cry when I tell that story, but I just, it brings me happy memories. It's a sad time, and I know that makes no sense. It makes no sense, but it brings me happy memories. But okay. Okay, on a lighter note, now that I've brought the room down. Read the room, Sandy, read the room. I brought you down, I'm sorry. It's supposed to be a cheerful video. Another car story. I'm telling you. Cars and me, we've got so many. We got so many. I had a burgundy Cavalier that I loved. I absolutely loved it. It was a hatchback. And Jim, we had that one, which was the newer car, and then we had an older car that Jim always drove to work because after we had so many cars stolen, we decided we're just going to buy a beat-up car and you can drive that, and if they steal that, then more power to them, they can have it. So I had, in the winter, I was putting my groceries or something in there, and somehow, I don't know how it happened. I don't know if when I put it in, it hit something sharp in the trunk or something, but it punctured a hole in the milk, and the whole time I was driving, the milk was dripping out until it went all over the back of the hatchback. And then when I got home to bring the groceries in and I saw the mess, you know, you don't realize how much a gallon of milk is until you spill it. One time in the garage when we were coming in, we dropped a gallon of milk. It was a glass at that point, but a glass of a gallon of milk, and it broke. There was milk everywhere. You just don't realize how much milk is in a gallon. You really don't. But anyway, so I cleaned it all up, got the little shop vac, you know, cleaned it, and it was fine. And we got it all cleaned, and didn't think nothing of it. And then came summer, and what had happened was the milk had gone under the hatchback into the wheel well, and I never had a flat tire, so I never had to worry about the wheel well. And it had frozen in there, and then as it thawed, it was sour, and then it curdled, and I didn't know that from the heat. And so then when I couldn't figure out what that smell was in my car, it was awful. It was awful, this awful, awful, awful smell. So we cleaned out the car. Back then they didn't detail. If they did, we didn't know about it. And we, you know, like cleaned it all out. We thought for just for the heck of it, just for the halibut of it, we would lift up the back and see, and then we saw all this curdled milk. Oh, it was disgusting. It was like you almost had to wear a gas mask to get it clean. So once again, we get the shop back out, we clean it all out, we get it all, we spray it with the, you know, the Lysol and the whole thing. And I could never get that smell out of the car. It was just so bad. We'd had those little air freshener, little trees hanging in from the windshield, from the rear view mirror, and it was just awful. And I couldn't use the air conditioning because you had to keep the windows, all 4 windows open while you were driving because the smell was just that bad. So we decided we were going to get a new car. It was just like, no. And terrible credit. We had terrible credit. I didn't think that we were going to get approved for a loan anyhow, but I thought, well, let's try it. So we took the car for a drive, aired it out completely aired it out. We had all these little air fresheners all hanging in the car. And so when they took it for the test drive and they brought it back, they didn't smell anything because we had the windows open. I don't think they ever thought to close the windows. And they gave us a price, which I thought was a fair price. And we sat down and I saw this car that I really liked. It was a purple, it was gorgeous, a purple Beretta. It was a 2-door coupe. And I just fell in love with it. And then Jim said, well, that's not really practical with the kids. And I said, they'll fit. They're older now, because this was back in 95. So Danny would have been, well, Jimmy was already gone. And Danny would have been like 16 or 17, so he's not going to go that many places with me. And Christy would have been about 13 or 14. So if she's going to go anywhere, she'd just sit in the front seat. So we saw the car, we fell in love with it. The guy did it, and then he did all of our credit check and everything. And so he said, looks good, you know, like in fair price, we're going to take the car. Can we take your car now and detail it and clean it all out, you know, so we can sell it, and then come back tonight at 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and we'll give you another car. We'll give you your new car. We'll have this one all prepped and everything. Your credit will come through and all that. You'll be fine. And we said, oh, okay, that sounds good. And so he says, okay, good. We'll see you at 6 o'clock. And I said, okay. So then Jim had met me there because he had the other car. So we just drove home. And then my aunts my mother had every week, she had her sisters over to play cards. So she had her sister Agnes, her sister Rose, her friend Jeannie, my mom, her next door neighbor Bonnie, and who was there? Was there other sister there? No, that was it. That was all that was there. And they were playing cards and everything. And it come time for me to go pick up my car. And I've been all day saying, "Oh, wait, do you see this car? It's gorgeous. It's purple. It's like grape. It's like a purple grape. It's perfect." So she said, "Okay." So then Jim brought me over to pick up the car, and we walk in, and the salesman's face dropped. And he looked at me and he said, "Oh my gosh, I am so sorry." And I go, "What?" He says, "I forgot to call you." And I go, "Forgot to call me about what?" "Your credit wasn't approved. We can't give you that car." And I go, "What do you mean you can't give me that car? You have to give me that car. I've already given you my other car." He says, "Yeah, we're just going to have to give you that car back. I'm so sorry." And I go, "Oh, no, listen to me, buddy. You told me I had a car when I left here at 10 o'clock this morning. I have 4 aunts and my mother and my next door neighbor all waiting to see my new car. I am not going to go back and tell them how humiliating that my credit didn't pass. When you told me my credit passed, you figure out something. You get somebody here. We're not leaving here unless we have another car." And he says, well, let me go talk to my manager. And I go, "Yeah, you should have called me. You should have let me know." I said, "This is so embarrassing." And so he went, and Jim was so mad at me. He says, "No, you went and told everybody. Why did you do that?" So we're arguing in the car dealership. And back then, as they had just started that year doing leases, and they weren't really popular. Nobody really wanted to do them. The only ones that really did leases were car companies that are like companies that leased them, and then they could write them off on their taxes. And he said, "Well, here's what I can do. If you can come up with another $500, I'll just let you lease the car, and you can take this car home brand new. And then, but like there's stipulations because of the mileage and stuff like that. And that's the only thing I can do. I can't give you I can't sell it to you, but I can lease it to you." And we just happened to get paid that day. And you know what? Our whole life, rob Peter to pay Paul. So I thought, the rent can wait. I'm not going home without a car. So we gave him the $500, and I drove home, and I had the car, which I kept for the whole 3 years, and I loved it. It was the perfect car. I've never leased a car again because I don't like leasing, because it's like you pay all that money and then you don't have anything to show for it at the end. But my aunts all loved my car. I went and showed everybody, my friends, I have my new car. Didn't tell them I leased it. I just told them I bought it. And then after 3 years, just said, I got tired of it. I got another car. So it wasn't a tragic car story, but a car story nonetheless. So. All right, let's get on with the day. I'm going to follow my menu. I'm having scrambled eggs and some English muffin with strawberry preserves, and I think a couple slices of bacon for my breakfast. So let's get moving. Let's get a crack-a-lackin' on this day. Breakfast today is bacon and eggs with a tomato and some grapefruit and a cup of tea. Today is Monday, December 14th. As always, I start my day with a prayer. My quote is, "It's never too late to be what you were meant to be." It's an 8-point breakfast, 0 for my eggs, my tea, my tomato, and my grapefruit. 2 points for a 1/4 cup of Velveeta shredded cheese that I mixed into my scrambled eggs. 2 points for the light English muffin, and 3 points for a tablespoon of jelly, and 1 point for 2 slices of bacon. 8 points, 15 points left to go. Well, I finished wrapping all the presents that have already arrived, so it got busy with that, so I didn't eat lunch, so I'm having my lunch and dinner together. I was going to have a bun with my apple chicken sausage, but I forgot to take it out of the freezer. It's still frozen, and I don't like putting it in the microwave. It gets kind of wet. But anyway, here's my dinner. It is a 10-point dinner, 4 points for my sausage, 3 points for my cottage cheese, 2 points for my sugar-free pudding, 1 point for my lemonade, and 0 for the mustard, pineapple, and cucumber. I still have 5 points left if I want to have something later on tonight. Okay, that's going to do it for tonight. Stayed on track. I was within my 23 points. I never used my other 5 points. I'll carry them over. I'm sure that one day this week I'll need them. So, as always, stay safe, and I will talk to you guys in the morning.